I would like to call to order the regular board meeting of the Vallecitos Water District for March 4th, 2026. Before we begin, I would like to announce that members of the public may watch the meeting live online by visiting the district's website and clicking the Watch Live icon. However, they will not be able to participate in the meeting remotely. Mr. Brown, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please stand if you're able. Face the flag. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Alan. Directors, please indicate your attendance. Everybody is here. Do we have any additions to the agenda?
No, ma'am.
May I have a motion to adopt the agenda for the regular meeting of March 4th, 2026? Motion by Director Hernandez, second by Director Brown. Please vote. Okay, motion passes. Do we have any requests to speak from the public tonight?
No requests have been received.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Director Pennick, second by Director Elithart. Please vote. Motion passes. Okay, moving on to action items. Our first action item is to request adoption of resolution number 1710 for organizational conflict of interest policy covering design build projects. We have a staff presentation for this.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. So this item is for the district to take advantage of the opportunity to use progressive or design build as a project delivery method. Traditionally, the district's always done what we call design bid build, but there are opportunities for design build mainly to save time. I always tell people design build doesn't really save costs usually, but it is another mechanism which could deliver projects at a faster pace or deliver complex projects that spread across many different, let's say, remote sites simultaneously. So with that, I'm handing this over to our Assistant General Manager, Jason Hubbard, to present on this item.
All right, thank you, General Manager Gumpel. Good evening, President KERSCHBAUM, members of the board. So yes, this item is to consider resolution number 1710, adopting an organizational conflict of interest policy covering design-build projects. Like the General Manager eloquently said, this is basically another tool in the toolbox. So this resolution is specifically targeting the district's desire to utilize design-build and progressive design-build project delivery methods for projects that will apply to companies who are proposing on those types of projects. And that'll be in adherence with the California Public Contract Code. So the purpose of this resolution specifically is to prevent unfair competitive advantages during that bidding process and to maintain public trust. So you may ask, why now? Why are we bringing this resolution to you now? And it's because next month we'd like to release an RFP for a design-build project for the next phase of our SCADA upgrade project. And that project is a multi-year project. I think we're in year 2 or 3. And the next phase, we'd like to utilize the design-build project because it is very complex. And we're looking for that integration between the designer and the builder. So this resolution will not only allow that project to move forward, but also create a foundational requirement for future CIP projects if we want to utilize them. The board packet does include the resolution you do see on the screen. It does include an exhibit with the policy that has been prepared, and we have had review with BB&K, so it does check that box. There is no fiscal impact associated with adopting this resolution, and adopting this resolution does support the district's strategic plan in the area of organizational improvement and efficiency. So short presentation, but staff does recommend approval of resolution 1710, adopting an organizational conflict of interest policy covering design-build projects, and I can answer any questions you have.
Do we have any public speakers for this agenda item?
We've not received any public speakers for this agenda item.
Okay, questions?
Well, I was
Brown?
just going to say that when my husband was involved with the school districts, they also implemented design build in some of the newer schools that they were building, and it seemed to go a lot smoother with better communication sometimes, and more apt to get things done on time. So I would support that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And that, I just had a question too. So before this resolution passes, assuming it passes, we've never done design build projects at the district? They've always been design bid build?
Correct.
Oh, okay, interesting. So I'm also supportive of this, and I appreciate that the department's discretion and, you know, using this type of vehicle on only certain projects. SCADA is a perfect example. That would be so hard and probably more expensive to have a design bid build. So I think it's a great opportunity to have that vehicle. And I assume that in the future, when we have new projects that come, the board will be able to approve whether we're doing a design bid build or design build.
We can certainly bring those to committee, but
Okay.
typically that would be a staff decision.
Okay.
And like the general manager said, most of our projects, you know, linear pipeline projects, facility upgrades, you've seen pump type rehab type projects. Those are more in line with traditional design bid build. But I do know of a project that we have currently that staff is looking to use this delivery method as well. It's a very unique hill stabilization project near a reservoir. So there's certain projects that lend itself to that, and that would we would let that decision fall on staff. But we could certainly bring those to committee if committee wanted to, you know, provide input.
I think so. I think it'd be a good thing to bring to committee. I trust staff. I trust your judgment. But I do appreciate that they're two different type of vehicles, and I wouldn't want to start only, you know, doing a whole bunch of design build, so.
And just to add, this is a very common method used at ENCINA for representatives at ENCINA. A progressive or regular design build is I think their preferred method, mainly because the complexity at the site at a treatment plant and the need for integration between the designer and the contractor to actually construct it. So we're definitely looking at more complex or unique projects for this delivery method, but our standard method, you know, our go-to is still going to be standard design bid build.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I would like to make a motion to approve resolution number 1710, adopting an organizational conflict of interest policy covering design build projects.
I'll second.
Seconded by Director Brown. Please vote. All right, motion passes. Our next action item is to request adoption of ordinance number 233, implementing Assembly Bill 1572, prohibiting the use of potable water for irrigation of non-functional turf. We have a staff presentation for this.
Yeah, I'm going to hand this right over to Chris. Chris has a short presentation on this ordinance and non-functional turf, which actually has a little bit of history along with it. So Chris, take it away.
Thank you so much, General Manager. So I am bringing you forth an ordinance that's part of the many pieces in the puzzle of making conservation a California way of life. This one is specifically to put in effect an ordinance prohibiting non-functional turf. This was part of Assembly Bill 1572. Really, the Assembly Bill was looking to not have non-functional turf be irrigated in like street medians or parking lot islands, business parks, other uses of just ornamental turf. And it begs the question, what exactly is non-functional turf? And this is a really good example of it right here. This is downtown San Diego by the convention center. It's the Center Divide. There's nobody that's going to be, you know, having a picnic here. Nobody's going to be throwing a football here. It's just ornamental turf, and that's what the state is interested in removing the use of potable drinking water to irrigate. It's important that we all, and me in particular, we are not turning into vigilantes about grass in general. Grass is a really good thing. I coached soccer for years. I know some other people here coached sports and grass is really nice. It's really good. It's better than artificial turf for sports to play on, but it's also expensive to maintain and irrigate and so forth. Grass can be a really good thing, but the state's really trying to adjust to maybe a low water use future and doesn't want to see it be used for irrigation purposes that really serve very little purpose. One of the important points for this as well is by putting in place an ordinance, we're complying with the state's requirements that we do this, and we'll be eligible for state funding for future grants and so forth. So that's one of the reasons why we're putting in. There's some specific implementation dates that are included. Public agencies need to get on board with not irrigating non-functional turf by January of 2027. That would include the district itself, but also like the cities and so forth that we serve. San Marcos, Visca, Escondido, and Carlsbad. Commercial, industrial, institutional properties by 2028. And then HOA common areas by January 1st of 2029. So kind of a stepped increase, putting forth those parameters over time. And we've been pushing this topic at different meetings and public speaking events recently. This non-functional turf came before the P3 committee, I think late last year. So it's something that's been coming. It's expected. We're getting this done well in advance, but the implementation dates aren't for almost a year for some of them. The recommendation is to adopt the ordinance implementing Assembly Bill 1572 prohibiting the use of potable water for non-functional turf within the district's service area. And I need to also point out that the ordinance itself, I had assistance from BB&K staff to draft the ordinance and make sure it met state's requirements. So with that, are there any questions?
Thank you for that presentation. I do have a question. I'm supportive of adopting this ordinance, but I just had a question on how we're doing with that January 1st, 2027 deadline. Are we on track with, making sure that we don't have any NFT by then?
So the district really doesn't have a lot of non-functional turf anywhere within our properties itself. They've been all replaced with low water use plants in the district's properties. And the cities have all been notified by myself about the requirements. So
Okay.
that's been taken care of.
Okay.
And the individual cities will have to still apply within their model landscape ordinance, and obviously they still have some time to do so. So this is just ramping up to 27 and then the 28 and 29 dates.
Okay. Were there any public speakers for this item, Kirsten?
Thank you. We've not received any requests to speak on this item.
Okay, any other questions or comments from the board?
I had a question, yeah. So help me
Mike,
understand,
turn your mic
there's
on.
an assembly bill. Is that not implementation enough? I mean, when we get a bill, it's a state regulation, comes down, it says all of California needs to abide by this non-functional turf bill. And so what are we doing with this ordinance then?
So the assembly bill actually in turn gets put into the actual water codes, which then water agencies such as ourselves have to comply with. So this is making sure that we are in compliance, that we have specific rules spelled out to our constituents and our ratepayers and our customers about these requirements.
And they're the same requirements of the bill? Basically, we're just restating it for our local
A
district?
little bit.
Yep.
In each district, and what happens if we don't do that?
The state doesn't really like to spell out consequences sometimes, but.
Well,
one
that's
of-
my thing. I mean, do we have any consequences either? I mean, we put this ordinance in this assembly bill with no teeth. How are you gonna enforce it?
Well, what you were saying though is that this helps us get grant funding.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I
If we
was
don't,
getting
if
at,
we
so-
don't have the ordinance, then we can't get the grant
So
funding
one-
that we want, so.
It's great.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So you need the ordinance to show that you're supporting the assembly bill to be able to qualify or be more, I won't say front of line, but be considered for grant. So we have customers who are interested in removing the non-functional turf, and the board's been presented with a few of those over the last year. And those are good stories, including the city of San Marcos over by Bradley Park, where they took out that non-functional turf, and the grant funding was supplied through different programs. And this actually keeps Vallecitos in compliance, so this way we get grant funding for our customers. So this way they can remove non-functional turf.
So like you said, it's a carrot law, not a stick law.
Right, but your ordinance does have a stick in it.
What's that stick?
Your stick has fines that you may impose
So if we give them
pursuant to the water
90
code.
days or
So,
120 days to remove, and if they don't do it, then we can fine them.
yeah, it's probably more of a trickle down for you to enforce because you're local, so the state doesn't have to enforce. And so they put the onus.
Well, and that's a fair
down
concern
there,
for
so-
me as an elected official in a certain area. I don't want all of a sudden, one of my neighbors that have beautiful turf, and if they live in a free country and they planted it and they mow it and they like to water it, and they say, you guys are fining me because I put in this beautiful turf. I don't mind the carrots. I just don't know if I like to stick it to my neighbor who likes his free country and his free grass.
Well,
So
If he's gonna pay for the water to do
Chris, will
it.
you go back a couple
I mean, I understand conservation, and overall, yes, but if you've got a neighbor that's,
So Director
Yeah,
Yeah,
Pennick,
this isn't residential.
I want to make sure that it's
Okay.
clear that this
Not
does not
non-resident.
impact residential customers at all.
okay,
So,
thank you.
public agencies, commercial, industrial, institutional, we refer to them as CII accounts.
Okay.
And then HOA common areas. And so,
That'll be the tougher one.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
I asked,
So-
so San Elijo where that fountain is, they got some grass around there, that's
functional.
That's functional,
That's
yeah.
functional,
Yeah.
'Cause
I mean, people literally have.
See, that's
picnics
where
on
I think, who's gonna enforce, well, that's functional, cause I throw a football on it every third Saturday.
100%, and there's some definitions included and a lot of parameters that they say. An easier one, especially for the board of directors, if you get questions on this, is if the only person that walks out on that grass is the person that mows it, it's non-functional.
It's functional for them.
Yeah, it's a job, right?
Exactly. Okay. No, I know, I'm being a little silly, but yeah, I'm glad you explained that it's not for residential.
Correct.
Common
Yeah,
areas, it just seems like there's a really cloudy line there, so.
Doesn't apply to cemeteries either, so.
Does not apply to cemeteries, makes sense.
Yeah.
But maybe not even the border-
Recreational
How about
use
the border
areas.
around the cemetery? I mean, that's where I'm saying.
Well,
It just seems
exempt cemeteries, so
so vague
it's,
to
yeah.
me as far as, I mean, if somebody comes, well, it's functional, I still, it's functional for their dog, as long as they pick up after their dog.
100%.
All right, no, some clarification.
I appreciate it.
I think our approach to it has been very proactive, and I think where we've already implemented some of these non-functional and changed it around, it helps us sell the story of why we need to be conserving water, and if grass is the only thing you think is beautiful, then we need to provide some other options for people to do, because I don't know, if you created some really nice looking non-functional turf areas for the open areas that are not used for recreation or something like that, it might inspire somebody to do it in their own yard. And
Oh, you mean like native, not turf
no,
just like native
you know,
landscaping, yeah.
Because again, people become slaves to their grass just by having to maintain it. And as much as I like grass and seeing a green yard, it's really not what I think our future needs to be. I mean, we really need to be protecting our water and using it for the most important things. Anyway, I think it's a good approach, and I would certainly support us being able to use that grant money to then instruct or provide that carrot that Jim was talking about, or Director Pennick was talking about, in good ways, as opposed
Sounds like you're
to-
ready to make a motion on this.
Yeah, okay, so I would like to make a motion that we adopt or adopt ordinance number 233, implementing Assembly Bill 1572 that prohibits the use of potable water for irrigation of non-functional turf.
I'll second that. Please vote. The motion passes.
Thank you.
All right, General Manager, what do you have to share with us today?
Mainly just some updates. There's a lot of upcoming meetings. I'm going to keep the board fairly busy in the month of March. So we have a legislative meeting on 310 committee, the Engineering Equipment Committee on 311, Finance meeting on Tuesday, 3/18th, and then of course we follow that up by the board meeting next day. Also some good news, we received a grant award from Aqua JPIA for a little over $3,000 for safety, basically, idea on I believe our forklifts, to put sensors around them to keep them from running into things. Julian, our safety officer, basically here, technician, came up with the idea. He had it from previous examples and experience. And the award was for over $3,000. We were only one of 12 awards that got granted, so it was a major accomplishment. We already congratulated him, and now that we have the grant money, we'll be putting basically sensors on the corners of our forklifts and other equipment that will keep them from backing into things. So
That's cool. And wait, who did you say on staff invented this?
not invented, but he recommended it. Julian, and what's Julian's last name? Rivadenera, yes. I knew
Okay.
I was going to butcher it. And he does safety compliance for us.
Well, that is very innovative. Thank you to Julian.
So that concludes my report.
All right, easy. District Legal Counsel?
Just an information item that may be of interest to you. Last week, the governor launched the Water Plan 2028, which is part of the implementation of Senate Bill 72. This is the first time ever that the state has implemented a mandated statewide water supply target. The target is 9 million acre feet of additional water. And for a visual, that's 2 Shasta reservoirs of water and enough water to provide service to 18 million homes. So this will be rolling out over the coming months, and it'll have a trickle-down effect
Jim, is this,
on local agencies.
Is this something that just went forward through the governor's office, or did it go through like the assembly?
It was a legislation that was approved
Okay.
last year.
Okay.
SB 72 was the implementation of it. This is the governor and the Department of Water's implementation of it. So he launched the official plan, Water Plan 2028, last week. So that's part of that.
How many acre feet did he say?
9 million acre feet of additional supply
Oh my gosh.
by the year 2040, but
Where's that supposed to come from?
Yeah, it's just.
well, you're probably going to have to build 2 reservoirs to store
The,
it.
the Sites Reservoir is one of them.
That's the whole point, Craig. They're going to have to try to define where it would come from. They're doing this in response to the global warming initiative, because our water is coming differently than it used to, less through snowpack, more through major rain events, tracing the atmospheric river, et cetera. So anyway, that's the information item.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So San Diego County Water Authority is next. It was an exciting meeting. So the big news is that the board voted unanimously to approve an MOU with the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation on behalf of the United States Department of the Interior for the purposes of exploring a Colorado River imported water interstate water transfer pilot. I was very happy to vote yes with my colleagues to approve this MOU. The MOU is basically just the beginning of conversations with the Bureau and our neighboring states. So, Metropolitan Water District is a signature on this, Arizona Department of Water Resources, Southern Nevada Water Authority, and Central Arizona Water Conservation District to explore potential interstate transfers and exchanges. So the intent is to facilitate a collaborative effort into exploring the framework under which the water transfers would take place. And just kind of to give a basic explanation of what a water transfer is. So all of these states that I mentioned and the Bureau of Reclamation have rights to a certain amount of water on the Colorado River. And we do too, but we also have a large supply of water from the desal plant. So we potentially would be selling our water from the desal plant to these neighboring states. That doesn't mean that we're selling water and we're pumping it over to Arizona. What it means is that we are selling a portion of our pull from the river, giving it to whatever agency we're doing the transfer with, and then we're using the desal plant. So we're selling them river water, the river water that we have rights to, at desal prices, or whatever price we negotiate. So the reason that I was so enthusiastic about this is because I think it accomplishes two things at once. First, it protects our long-term supply sustainability. So even though we have a lot of water right now, we certainly don't want to give up our rights to the river, because that's the cheapest source of water that we have right now. Flows right downhill from the Hoover Dam, and there's very little pumping, and so that is definitely our cheapest source of water. So even though we have an excess of supply in relative to demand, we certainly don't want to give up our rights to the river. So in this situation, we would still have all the rights to the river that we hope to get. There's another conversation going on about our rights to the river, but let's assume that that's separate for now. But we would have the opportunity to sell excess supply to our neighboring states when the need is there. So it's really an exciting thing, because we are protecting our water supply, but we're also protecting our ratepayers, because by having an alternate source of revenue to the authority, we can potentially protect rates from going up as high. So it's really a win-win, and it's an exciting time. This is a really innovative thing. I'm really proud of everybody that worked on this, the staff at County Water Authority, because this was taking a difficult situation like we have right now, a good amount of supply, and our demand has gone down because of things we're talking about tonight, like non-functional turf and state regulations. So this is a way that we can protect our ratepayers, and as a member agency of County Water Authority, it'll really benefit us in the long term. So that was great news. It's in various news articles if you want to read more about it. But yeah, it was exciting. So any questions on that?
Yeah, I've got a question. Would that potentially impact our individual desal contract?
Great question, because I was concerned
General
about.
Manager knew I was going to ask that question.
Well, yeah, as a matter of fact, I had a long conversation with our general manager and our general counsel ahead of the meeting, and actually I brought up, we have a North County working group meeting before the large board meeting, and I brought that up as a concern, because I said, hey, wait a second, we have a contract to get 4,000 acre feet a year from 3,500. So we don't want to be left behind. If Water Authority is doing all these transfers and then we have take or pay for 4,000, that's not fair.
We need a proportional share of the benefit.
Exactly. So I brought that up as a concern at the pre-board meeting. A lot of the other board members did not know that Vallecitos has a separate contract. Carlsbad has a similar situation, but some of the other, like Santa Fe Irrigation District, they had no idea. Like Poway, these other agencies just didn't know. So I think it was a good discussion before the meeting. And so then I brought up concerns to our staff, and what we kind of decided is that this is not a contract that says that the authority is going to be dealing, selling a certain amount of water. It's just a memorandum of understanding, which means it opens the door to conversations. And so I think that we're safe to continue to explore that possibility in tangent with the authority. And it's something that, James and I are both concerned about, so we'll continue to advocate for that. And James has been advocating for it behind the scenes too, so.
What day was this decision made?
This was Thursday, so the 26th, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so.
And just to add to a little bit more for Director Elitharp, so the Water Authority has embarked on a new business plan model, and they've included the general managers in it. One of the items that have been brought up and more than one person's advocating for is an excess revenue model. So whether they sell IID transfer water on the river to other Met agencies, which is now allowed for the Met settlement, or through this MOU, be able to leverage the cost of desal or portions of the cost of desal water to transfer water from the river to another state, then what do we do with the excess revenue? So one of the things we're working on for Vallecitos and Carlsbad is if that water, if desal is being leveraged to that water, then both Carlsbad and Vallecitos should have first right of refusal to have a proportionate share of the savings. We're not there yet. It's something that's going to be worked through probably by the end of this year into a policy that's hopefully supported by the general managers to bring to their respective board members that sit on the Water Authority board. But at the end of the day, it will be a board decision at the Water Authority whether that policy gets adopted as recommended. Good news is Water Authority staff and I have had some robust conversations, and even though we don't see eye to eye on everything, I've not gotten resistance on something that is fair and equitable. Where fair and equitable ends up may be a little bit different, and at the end of the day, that policy will vet that out. And as we get closer to reality of what that policy looked like, I'll have updates to the board or to committee or both.
Thank you.
Wow.
Director Pennick, did you have something? Your light's on.
Nope, just like to hear you, I'm breathing.
Okay, good. Okay, ENCINA Wastewater Authority.
We haven't had a meeting yet. I think we have a budget meeting this month, and then we'll have our board meeting at the end.
Alrighty. You guys have 2 meetings a month? Just one?
No,
Just one? Oh, okay.
And then a committee meeting.
Okay. Standing committees, did anybody meet? Directors' reports on meetings, conferences, and seminars attended. Director Hernandez?
Yes, I attended the Urban Water Institute. Interesting. A lot of talk about SGMA, groundwater replenishment, and primarily up in the Central Valley. But the 2 takeaways I got were water affordability. The whole industry needs to work harder at identifying what a good purchase our water is. I mean, our water is less than a penny a gallon, and if you extrapolate a gallon of water somewhere else, and then the bottles of water you can get at 7-Eleven, tens of dollars more a gallon. But we don't publish that enough so that people don't understand it. So the whole industry needs to do a lot better on that. And then we talked, there was our last session was about the Colorado River. Very interesting. And the very beginning fact was they over assumed the volume by about 2 million acre feet. And then over the years, of course, we've been diminishing that, so now we're 4 million less. And of course, everybody with a straw in the river is arguing about the upper basin has no storage, so they're really complaining, and all their storage is snowpack. Ours, of course, we get to Lake Mead, and Arizona, New Mexico, and Nevada, and us are on the lower basin. And Arizona is quibbling about they want more and they want us to take less. Poor Mexico, they're SOL, because if they're in the line, and whatever trickles down to them is, they're lucky. So they're working on the agreement, which is past 2 deadlines, and if they don't get it done soon, the feds are gonna come in and just dictate what the game is. So they're working hard at that, and I'm sure they'll get it done because they don't want the feds to step in. But you know, this 9 million acre feet, that was from the governor in his water plan? Yeah. That guy has no idea what the heck he's talking about, obviously. I mean, really, guy has mucked up this city, this state so bad, and this is just a classic demonstration. So it was a good conference. I learned a lot, and that's my report.
Thank you. Any other conferences or events or anything? No? So I had a question. So after our last meeting, I was scrolling through social media and saw that we had like a outreach event for local students. Director Pennick, did you want to talk about that? What?
Sure, did we not meet after? Yeah, no, we had a great little tour. It was, what it was just it was a charter school / homeschooling group of kids. And one of the parents reached out to me and just said, they're teaching a class on the Constitution, local government, and how local government interacts and communicates and with water districts and other local, services. And so I reached out to our general manager and to Chris, and they were gracious enough to say, sure. Kirsten planned it's reserved the board meeting, and so these kids, there was about eight or nine of these kids, and they came, and they actually, hopefully your seats were in good order, because they sat up here, and they actually ran the meeting, and then James and myself, and I invited Vice Mayor Mike Sinella was here to talk about how we, interact, and he talked about the cost of water, and he was getting that word out. So it was just an opportunity for us to do a small little tour, and Vallecitos was great. All the staff walked around, and everybody was great. Hopefully you guys got a card. Did you get a card that said thank you?
Yeah, I actually just received the card today, right before the board meeting.
Okay, they said they sent some thank you cards. They were very appreciative, and it was an educational experience as well as just a fun little tour and fun photos in the Jeep and around the area. And so kids had a great time, and they were very grateful for that.
What age were the kids?
12 and 13.
Ah, good age.
Yeah.
Yeah. So normally when we have outreach events like that, usually the board is informed and usually invited. So it sounds like a really great event, and I think several of us would have liked to participate. So just curious what the thought process was for that.
I thought it was just small enough. There's only like 8 or 9 kids, so I don't know. There was no thought process, I guess. 8 or 9 kids, and we had one Vice Mayor James, myself, and Chris. So there's 4 adults and 8 kids. So yeah, I probably should have gotten that word out, but it was just kind of a small event that we were invited to do. There was no real outreach per se, besides it was just a tour of the facility.
Yeah, it's certainly this is a public building, so certainly that's, nothing wrong with that, but I hope that as a board, we can communicate with each other and be collaborative on events like this, and, make sure that we're all invited in the future. So that's kind of all I wanted to say about it.
Fair enough.
So, all right, any other comments? Okay, we are adjourned then. Thank you.